Hey, welcome back to She Gets a Pod. Happy to have your ear. This is a bonus episode where I'm going to talk to various women that's going to come through the show. And what we're going to talk about today is women everything, women of history, women of today, women who are inspiring, women who are thinking out the box. And I'm so excited for the women that are going to pop through because nobody's obligated, but it's going to be a really fun show. I want to talk about women of history, women that are doing things different, what women want today, what's happening in the workplace for women, what changed as far as like the family dynamic and what women need from men, from, their confidence and being comfortable with not having kids and being comfortable with having kids, like all of that and where we are now. And I want to talk about this soft life. I want to talk about what men assume. I want to talk about the fact that what women want from men is more than money. I want to talk about how our love grows and how consistency is more of a want than it is to have peen or money from men. Okay. And what growth looks like for everybody and how is individuals, not just one way. How that house and the picket fence and the man that looks like he wants to be there is not really the goal for all of us. And it's okay, you know? How women can be solo individual artists and not want the marriage and not want the fame and not want the bags, the shoes, the jewelry, the posts, and how women today who feel like they need to show a bit more, do a bit more, be a bit louder. Are those women inspiring? And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. And I'm so excited. Glad to have your ear. I'll be back with a few guests and then I'm going to get started. And we are live. And we are live. I'm going to give the ladies a bit of 5 minutes. And then I'm just going to start running my mouth because that's what I do best. Hope you guys are having a great day and all of that. Shh. Today was so annoying to the point where I laid in my bed for 15 minutes and I said, Chantal, do you want to call out? And the other part of me was like, call out for what? And I was like, I know, I should just work right. Another part of me was like, yeah, get your ass up and work. It ain't like you got to go to the office. I was like, true. So I worked today, but did I regret it? Yes. The way that these people get on my nerves at work, how they ask for help and you give them the answer and it's not the answer that they want. So they tell you, no, that's incorrect. I feel like you are capable of doing what I ask. Sis. It's giving oppressor. It's giving passive aggressive. It's giving you're lucky I don't know your address so I don't pull up on you. But yeah, that was my Thursday. We're almost at Friday. I feel like I could thug it out. Thug it out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to thug it out. So how are you? How's everything? How's March treating you? Um, I know somebody needs to close my Amazon account this month because for why, Chantal? Because Chantal, okay, Chantal. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. I'm just scrolling through IG until people pop in. What's on your perfect burger? Table topics. I will say pickles, a purple onion, let's be clear, ain't nothing red about it. Raw. A1 sauce. I prefer A1 sauce over barbecue and ketchup. Some of that steak sauce. What else do I want on my burger? A hot spicy mustard. And the meat. Not pink. A buttered bun. and maybe cheese. Pepper jack. Somebody just said mayonnaise, sis. We need more than that. We need more than that. You're able to. Steve Harvey explains why he buys expensive cars, sir. It's richness. Let's be serious. Who we got? Who we got? It's Gigi. 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 It's Gigi. It's Gigi. Who we got? Who we got? Hi, Gigi.
Hi.
What is going on?
Yo, life is life, and
yes,
life it with it.
Yes.
How you?
I am Dandy. Work is over for the day. Contemplating calling out tomorrow, but I'm trying to be a grown up. But here we are.
What are the thoughts of why you wouldn't go?
Because I feel like I'm going to have a real reason in the future to call out, and I don't want to be like one of those unnecessary call outs.
Okay, but you also understand that mental health is a thing and that self-care, you first. And so at the end of the day, there's always going to be a day that you may need, but there's always going to be a day that you're going to need for you. And if tomorrow is that day, friend.
I
know. But I digress. For you.
Hello, I don't think.
Your pocket. But I know that whatever decision that you make, it's going to be a great one.
Thanks. You and Greg are about to record?
Yes, but he ain't even hit me up yet to leave. So I'm just standing here. I didn't even leave. So I'm waiting for him to say, Gigi, okay. And then I'll just head over to him. So,
okay, great. So while I have you for however long I have you, tell me any tips or anything you appreciate about women's history or women of the past or women now that you want to drop on the show.
Oh, I like how you just kind of you dropped that on me.
Yeah,
that women of all generations and all walks of life has shown us that we can always make the impossible possible. There has been nothing that we haven't been able to do in any aspect of life. And sometimes we allow the, other gender to provide that if they would like, but that doesn't take away the idea that we have been resilient. We have continued to show that not only can we run a household, we can run businesses, we can run the world. And so it's just a tidbit to understand that if that's where we are now, just think about where we're going to be.
A mouthful. Okay. I like that. And I agree. I think the women of the past did what they did and they did the best with it. And I think it's taken a lot of people outside of just women to understand that what the women of today need and want is different. And it doesn't mean that it's less value. It means that you have to adapt.
Yes.
And a lot of people are stubborn to adapt. So they name call it like, oh, women, they're not quality, or they hate men, or they don't want to be good mothers. And any woman who is saying she's happy without being a mother, she's lying. And I'm just like, there's so many different dimensions of being a woman. And the fact that our bodies are still under attack to this day and we're in 2023 is insane to me. But I always understood that a woman's body is all about some form of control. It's Miko. My cousin's gonna pop in here.
You want me to change my orientation? Because I realized that I should have.
No, you good. You good. My focus on this episode is audio. It's not really awesome. So you're safe. But I do feel like what women want today is different and it rubs people the wrong way. What's up, Miko?
Hi, Miko.
I don't know if she could hear us yet. Hopefully she could hear us. But yeah, tonight I'm gonna talk a bit about soft life, what men assume, why what women may want and need is more than money. I'm gonna talk about what growth looks like for us, women that we may admire. You know, what constitutes a woman being of value today? Is it the woman whose body is the most liked, or is it the woman that loves her body the most, regardless of what it looks like? And you know, I want to talk about all of that because I'm raising women.
Talk about it.
And I'm raising women who are living in the visual digital world, and they're not going to leave my house bobbleheads. They're not going to leave my house thinking that their looks is it. What's up, Miko?
Hi, Miko. Having connection issues.
It's okay. And I just I want to be an example of, here's a woman that raised me and she did the best. And even though what her best is not what I choose to do, she did the best. And I appreciate her allowing me to give feedback on what she was doing while she was doing it. Because these kids today are not us when we were kids. Like, it was disrespectful to question a mom or dad on why are you telling me to leave the room, or why I can't ask you this, or is it possible I can interject and tell you this is the wrong way for the last hour and it not be seen as rude? Whereas for me as a mom, I love when my kids come to me and tell me what would be a good idea. Like Ari today, she has a t-shirt on that says, bruh, don't touch my hair, bruh. So she has this thing, like, if she was a boy, she would be a complete titty boy. She loves my titties. So when I be in the house and she be like annoyed and trying to get my attention, she'll grab them. So I'm in like this mode of telling her, Aria, that is harassment. You cannot grab my boobs like that. And it doesn't feel good. I said it hurts depending on how you grab it. So she could have come in the room today and she said, well, I think you should go ahead and make a t-shirt that says, don't touch my titties, bro.
Yo. The mouth of babes.
Like, you know, you might be onto something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that came from Ari. I just want everyone to know, I pre-recorded. This is definitely, give her credit. Do not.
Yes.
Give her royalties.
I know.
It came from a little woman, but I think it's super important that, you know, I differentiate a Nicki Minaj woman from a woman who doesn't have to show so much, but still has that respect and that command in the room. And I think today, women who do what men like the most are rewarded more than women who are a bit more refined with it. And I want to expose them to both, but also show them how this is a better long-term quality than this, because now I think a lot of the women are seeing that bubble butts is not it.
It's not.
Yeah, finally.
Fake bodies is not it. Can you pull this out? Can you adjust this? I want to get back to how I was back then. And some people have gone too far to go back and they know it. So they just keep going. And when I think about that, instantly in my mind, a woman of like the 90s to me that was beautiful has completely, in my opinion, maybe for her, she thinks she upgraded. In my opinion, her naturally, she looked way more beautiful. And I respected her more for just owning a stage with a lot of men, Little Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Why did she touch her face? Why did she touch her body? Why did she do all of this? And it's just like every year I'm just like, I hope she gets this year. Like, she's enough. She doesn't need to add anything more. But I'm not seeing it yet. And a lot of times what we see in the potential of a woman may not be what she may see. And I want to show them that too. Like, just because someone thinks, you know, this person is better than you, instead of you combat them, just say, you know what? It's cool. That's your opinion. Because after that, where's the argument?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
so it's, I think it's super important for women to stand up and speak their mind and be individuals and still be respected as being their ultimate women selves. I don't think I'm better than the next woman. I don't think, Gigi feels like she's better than the next woman, or Miko feels like she's better than
No.
the next, but it's like finding a common respect, and every one of us, men or women, learning that if somebody is not on your level mentally, emotionally, physically, I'm not saying that I'm better, but I'm just saying I know better. And I'm just not going to argue with someone who cannot give me more knowledge than I can give myself.
Okay, but then you'll automatically be called a narcissist. The minute that you understand your value, your wants, your needs, and the things that you like, it's automatically taken as I'm looking down on you. No, what's good for you may not be good for me. So
Right.
what I'm raising a boy, and he's looking at the women in society, and I guess he kind of uses me as a gauge. But at the same time, there's certain things that he's not okay with me. Like, I know that he'll probably be an ultra conservative man, because if I put a crop top on, he's like, "You really want to wear that though? Your belly's out, mom.
I love how he gives you your opinion first. So that's your choice today.
That's what you want to wear. Okay. Well, I mean, if that's what you like, he'll tell me if that's what you like. But I think that you would look better if you were fully covered. And then, you know what?
Right.
I appreciate your honest opinion, because that's what you would like to see in a woman. You would prefer a woman to have things covered up because that's what you like. But mommy, if you like that, I love that for you.
Right.
Even with, and I always leave space for him to express himself. And I think that's one thing that children of today have the opportunity to do. Like you said, to ask questions and to express themselves. There's always a dialogue. He constantly tells me that I'm so glad I didn't grow up in the 90s, because children were seen and not heard. And I was just like, wow, I'm doing something right. I am doing something right, because he can differentiate between the way that I'm raising him and the circumstances that I grew up under. And he's really looking at women as well as men in certain, connotations, like, I see what this person's doing, and I see how my mom is, I see how my dad is, and it's resonating. Children are like sponges.
I agree.
And even like that brings me to this whole conversation this week with what Sierra wore to the Oscars with her husband.
Yeah.
I'm just like, listen, if his square butt loves her little butt and that dress, and they agreed that I love this for you, I love that for you, and they left the house, let them rock out. I don't understand why what someone chooses to wear, how they present themselves, is affecting so many people so much for them to feel like, I have an opinion on this. She shouldn't be showing her cheeks. She shouldn't be showing her legs. That split is too high. Like,
what
is she bothering you? Is she really making you lose sleep at night? Is she bothering your kids? Were your kids told it's mandatory for them to watch the Oscars? Like, I think social media it's a pro and a con, because it has made the ignorant mindset people of today louder. But it has always allowed people who understand that. Okay, Gigi, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye, Gigi.
So continue to be great, ladies.
Of course. It really made like people feel like, oh, okay, that's how you think, or that's how you are, that's what you want to do. Okay, good, check. Like when Trump was in office, what I liked about it is he let people who thought like him feel comfortable to be out.
Yes, he definitely gave a platform for a particular group of people to speak their mind. And honestly, I think it was great. Whether I agreed or disagreed with what they had to say, it honestly let us know what type of opinions are actually out there.
Right.
Because a lot of people would not say that. They had no balls to say the things that they said until he got into office. And I definitely appreciate that. I mean, that's true freedom of speech.
Right. But the people who rather you say what sounds good, what makes me feel good, didn't like the fact that people felt so comfortable. And I'm just like, we can't say that we want more women to have more options and be able to speak out, and then say, oh, because you're a woman and you're saying X, Y, and Z, you need to shut up. And I feel like that's kind of like the same thing. Like, if we want honesty, We need to see who's honestly in the room. Like that white man who had the audacity to say, I'm for bringing back lynching.
We need to know that you exist. I'm sorry.
Period.
Let him speak, because it's an honest, people actually believe that there were no people who felt that way. There are a lot of people who agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
If we can just go back to the January 6th event,
yes,
there's a lot of people who have very strong opinions. And when you suppress that, we don't know that they're around. And I think that's a bigger danger, to
yes.
not know the true opinions of people and thoughts, because those are people who vote. Those are people who go to polls. Those are people who teach your children, and you need to know they're around.
Right. Especially the teach your children part. That's a bias that I don't like in the news, when it's a man teacher, this man raped this girl or sodomized this child, if they don't want to say the sex. When it's a woman, this woman
had a relationship. That's what they'll say.
You
can't have a relationship. There's no consent with the child. There's no relationship. She's an abuser.
It's like, at one minute y'all want to bash women who are innocently not doing anything to you, but when the ones are guilty, oh, we can't say that about her. It's going to defame her character. Her character is already defamed when she thought that this was okay.
Okay. But see, that's the type of double standard that there is. I think that when we speak about feminism and women empowerment, we're not just speaking about the fluffy sides. We're speaking about all sides. And I think that's what is a big misconception. We don't want to have preferential treatment. We want to exist in a space that's safe. And if there are women in our space that aren't safe, we need to treat them with a certain amount of scrutiny and not softness.
Right. Just like the women who are like, let's get rid of abortion. But in your life personally, how many babies did you get rid of?
Hello.
In your life personally, you made a choice. I don't want to be a mother. But you want to sit here and tell other women who possibly want to be a mother, but not right now, or can't be a mother medically because it's not safe. You must.
No.
Like,
that's a double standard there. So it's okay for you and not okay for me, but secretly not okay for you. That's the thing.
Right.
A lot of people, this is the world we live in.
And it's like, oh, like, it's levels of women not feeling safe for different reasons. And women would rather wake up and not have to talk about what they have to talk about, but to wake up and completely ignore what's happening with women, what's not fair with women. By default, you are against women.
They don't want to say that, but they truly don't perceive themselves as being against women. They truly feel that their opinion is going to support the type of women that they want to support. I think there's a biases within our own gender on what women need to be supported as well.
Yeah.
That I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's kind of hard to say, women get together and all women need this, when all women don't feel like they're equal among all women to be respected, heard, taken seriously, given certain medical care, because that is medical care, provided certain opportunities, and then turn around and be like, you know what? I think it's a better option for you to have that child. Then when that woman needs help or resources, you know what? You should have thought of that. You should have thought of that before you did X, Y, and Z. And it's kind of like, what? What?
Make it make sense.
Right. So, a lot that needs to be said. But I'm going to get the history of Women's Month out the way. And I'm going to talk about some inspiring women. And then we just going to get into these topics that people keep bringing up. And you know what? I love the men of today where they feel like, let me go on a podcast and tell the world what I think about women. I love that for you, sir. But also there's a response for that, sir. And I feel like this is where I want to air it out instead of listening to a clip, seeing a clip, and just like, ooh, let me make an episode about that. Like, I want this to be, let me lay it out on the table, why this is that, why women feel this way, and why we are where we are. And so this is the episode to do that. So we're just gonna rock out. If anyone else pops in, they pop in. They can be added to the conversation, but let's go. Okay, so when I researched the origin of Women's History Month, started in 1908. So there's that, and then there's an International Women's Day, which is was in 1911. So 2 years after that, and then Women's History Month started in my year, 1987.
And best year.
And like, yeah, okay. How can you deny us? There was afros.
Hello.
There was good music. There was a vibe. Okay. So in my opinion, because I don't want to get the dictionary of why women's history is important, because I am a woman. I feel like women's history is important because if we don't know what women went through in the past, we wouldn't know why women keep going. We wouldn't know why this particular woman doing this thing is so important or a major deal, because women for the last 20 years were not allowed to do X, Y, and Z. Even down to the reason of why marriage was so high 20 years ago, or like most men who call themselves alpha males, women were better in the 1950s. Women weren't better in the 1950s. Women felt like the only way I would be able to have a life is through a man.
Hello, how am I going to take care of myself if I don't have a man?
Right.
First of all, what kind of money would you earn to support yourself if you weren't married? That was the goal.
Right. So I'm just like, so you felt women only had value if a man stated she had value because I chose her.
Sounds like the original pick-me's. I'm sorry. It had to start somewhere.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that still going around. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. You can't marry your mom today. And if you can marry your mom today, you can marry your mom today. You know, we've seen it on the social media, but logically, would you want to know? I feel like the men today that say women were better in the 1950s, they want a woman's mindset of 1950 on a 2024 body. And they want her to figure out how to not work, make me 3 meals, wash my clothes, take care of my house, take care of my kids, and keep that body.
Oh, that's a good one, because some of them want her to work too and do all those things as well.
The real sick ones are the ones that say, oh yeah, I know when I met you, you were working a job. You're not going to work that job anymore. You're going to stay home and do X, Y, and Z. Those are the real sick ones, because behind that whole mindset of, I'm going to take care of my wife, she's not going to do X, Y, and Z. Did you ask her if that's what she wanted? Did you ask her if she wanted to be taken care of and there was one bank account and you would give her money? Did you ask her if that was how she wanted to take care of kids and she wanted to have kids every other year?
No, and that wasn't part of the discussion. It was just assumed that once I picked you, this is what we're going to do. You're going to listen to me.
Right. And I'm just like, that's not healthy. And a lot of men who think it's a manly thing for me to give direction and for her to not combat me and it's just going to be X, Y, and Z, da, 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 da. It's giving you're insecure that you feel like if she has options, she's going to exercise them.
If she has a voice and opinion, she's going to interfere with your plan. That's the problem. Better her quiet than her actually speak up and have thoughtful opinions. But today's woman is far more resourceful than that. Not only do we have valuable thoughts and opinions, we can actually aid our household more than making food.
Right.
And taking care of children. Like, that's not all we are. I'm not a baby making machine. If that's the case, you can get you a surrogate and a chef.
Yes.
Simple as that. If you want a woman at home in your house to take care of your kids, you can pay for that.
And they're not going to, because they feel like, oh, you're a woman. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I married you for.
No, I'm good.
Let me tell you something. The way my nipples get hard when I see a man cooking. Good night.
Hello.
Good night. Like,
but you know what? The type of woman I am, if you're going to cook that meal, I will do those dishes. You go get in that kitchen with that apron.
It's a team.
I'm going to be right behind you with those dishes as soon as the itis wears off.
It's a team. And I feel like that's what makes, you know, the achievements better or the challenges easier, is knowing a woman is not sitting at home expecting you to battle the world, come in and make her happy, and then go back out and battle the world and be able to handle it all, and her just look at you and be like, that's my man. Like, stop telling the world that that's what you want. Stop telling the world that you want to pick the quote unquote baddest looking woman that feels like she shouldn't have to work. You should get her nails done. You should buy her whatever she wants. You should take her on trips. And as far as like helping you, especially as a Black man, combat society, oh, that's just not her place. She's not supposed to. I'm supposed to do everything. That's unhealthy.
But you know what happens to a lot of those men? What happens when you lose the money? What do you have to fall back on? Because that woman will leave for a man who can continue where you left off.
Period.
With your kids.
Period. Listen, wherever that man is of my future, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I don't think the sun shines out of your ass and you don't have $10 to your name, don't move any further with me, because I have to see value in you without nothing while we build something.
No one wants to do that anymore. I think building together sounds ghetto. I think for some men, getting assistance from a woman takes away from their masculinity. And I don't really see it as assistance. Like we said, it's a building thing. I would love to help you grow and build yourself, and you pour into me the same way that I pour into you. But they have an expectation that women are already coming with a not full cup because they need a man to help fill the rest up. I don't need that. My cup is full already.
And then if they don't have that attitude that you just said, they take it as, oh, you feel like you don't need a man and you feel like you have everything under control. Oh, did I state what I felt?
But what is wrong with being a self-sufficient adult? As adults, we're supposed to know how to take care of ourselves. Why is it me being a woman would make me inept and I need to wait for someone to come down and save me? I think that two healthy, self-sufficient people make a greater team. If I don't need you to pick me up out of, just like a martyr or a superhero type of mentality or complex, I am not in a bad place.
Right.
Why would you want to build somebody from that bad place? Why would you want to take somebody out of their situation rather than meet somebody where you are? Why is it always a savior complex? Why do you need to save someone from destitute or being a lonely woman? Who said she was lonely? There's a difference between being alone and being lonely.
And I feel like that's where people who are in love with the struggle come in, that like people who feel like, oh, we got it out the mud together, so I know they love me. We don't necessarily have to get it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? A man making 50K and you making, 65K together, regardless of what K he making, it's more K than you are making on top of what you are making. Like women who feel like, oh, it's Ashley. Women who feel like, oh, I need him to make 150K, or I need him to make 200K, and then I could do something with him. You're Bucky.
That's definitely Gen Z. I hear a lot of Gen Z women sounding like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. They really have an unrealistic expectation of what it costs to live in this world, right, and what a man can actually do for them. And there are some women out there who are uninterested in working and have no idea what that means by staying at home, and what type of control that man has an expectation over your life because he's providing.
All right. What's up, Ash? I don't know if she can hear me. Take a while for her to pop in. But yeah, I just don't want to, especially how men, and this is another thing, like people don't take in consideration, is the man that you think is so fine and making that salary that you want him to make, is he healthy?
Oh, you talking about that show, but that inside of that show is different. Yes. On paper, he might be the best man in the world, but when you actually get to know him, people are undeveloped, personality, character, like, oh my God, I did not know this was you. It's like those Russian dolls where you keep picking it up and you find more and more and more and more inside, and it's not what you wanted.
Right. Ash. I don't know if she hear me. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I just feel like if he's not healthy, his life expectancy is not going to help you, and you're just rushing to become a widow. Like a lot of men, and we talked about this, where they're not taking care of themselves. They want bachelor life in their 30s. They want bachelor life in their 40s. They want bachelor life in their 50s. And then when they like my back,
Yeah, when death is knocking at Father Time and death is knocking at their door. That is actually a thing where men hurry up to find a partner and get married so that they don't die alone. That's a big thing.
Or I need to settle down and get a woman to take care of me. That is not the goal of a marriage.
Well, statistically, when a man is partnered, they live long. The life expectancy of a man who is either cohabitating or married to a woman, their life expectancy increases exponentially. Yeah. So you're just using me so you can live longer. I got you.
But you halfway broke. Not financially broke, but you coming to me broken, and I gotta be your night nurse instead of be able to go to Greece for a week with my husband because he needs his oxygen tank. He needs to take this medicine. He can't be sitting for X amount of hours. Like, all of that comes into play. Ash. Hello. What's up? We're just talking women and men expectation on women and the things that they do, so you can jump in whenever you want. But I just feel like if your goal is to be married to a woman and you want your woman to be amazing and at least an 8, and you want her to be this and look this way, she has to have the space to expect those things from you also.
It's two-way street. I agree with that. You got to be able to give what you're asking for. And a lot of people don't realize that you have all these expectations, but then want to give nothing.
Right.
Nothing in return, not even equal in return. If you can't give what you're asking for, you should reevaluate what you're asking.
Like, you really want me to sit here at 35 and give you one more kid on top of the 3 that I already have or you already have, and you smoke 5 times a day or you drink 10 times a week.
With the about smoking. I was like, bro, you got to stop smoking. I'm like, the secondhand smoke is going to kill me, not you. Like, please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Only that, like, these men's testosterone levels mad low. Like, they can't even, I don't know. They need to get it together. Because I've been getting it together. I've been eating clean, and I need to do this doing the same.
Yes. Like, I understand.
But this goes back to the body expectations. You don't even take care of your health. Yeah. Why would I want you to come ruin my temple?
Like, how you trying to play in my butt and you don't want a doctor to play in yours? How we doing this? How you focus on when's my annual and my PAP and you basing your health off of my health?
Hello.
Like, there's too many grown men doing that.
When's the last time you seen your doctor?
Right. What's your doctor's name?
Do you have a PCP?
Do you know what that is? And we're not talking about drugs.
Have either of you ever dealt with a man that was not taking care of himself at all? I actually had to give a man an ultimatum, like, to get a hernia looked at.
What? Wow.
No. I'll say this. I've never dealt with a man that I know through proof took his ass to the doctor outside of a dentist.
Oh no, I won't let anybody touch me who doesn't go to a doctor. My last ex gave me paperwork, like blood work, everything, full on. Like, he was an athlete. Let me see that paperwork before you touch me. Let me see what that blood work looking like. Oh, you got great cholesterol. I like this. Let me see that paperwork, baby.
Oh my God.
No, but at the same time, we have to hold women accountable too, because you have to say no. You have to set the standard. And some men don't realize that I won't let you touch, like the fingernail thing. If your fingernails look disgusting, you can't touch me. If you don't clip your fingernails, you got dirt under your fingernail, I can't let you touch me.
Oh yeah.
You don't. Yeah, it's a no. It's a no. If you can't take care of your regular hygiene, let alone going to a doctor, at least your yearly physical. No, don't touch me. We're not on the same page. My health is more important than that. I don't care how fine you look.
Mm-hmm. It's just you feel better when you take care of yourself. And if I'm feeling better because I'm taking care of myself, I need you to feel better that because you're taking care of yourself. And I don't care what any man says. It is not gay to take care of your hands, your feet, your hair, your skin. It is not gay to go to the doctors on the regular. It is not gay to not be happy in a relationship and voice the fact that you are not happy. That's not feminine. That's called being a human. Glad you guys are still listening to the show. If you are looking to support a Black woman, please check out 1977hustlelane.com. That is my girl Jayla's company of workout gear, comfy gear, bras, tanks, pants, shorts, whatever you're looking for, hoodies. She got it on there. Also check out energy.com. Everything's on there. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, bags, kits that you get to go ahead and self-care, tips, all of that. It's just a peaceful place, okay? Because we are supporting Black women, okay? We are supporting creators. We are supporting women making something for themselves. And I'm so happy that women are constantly evolving despite what is against them, because that's what we do. Now back to the show.
Self-care. Take care of yourself, because I'm not going to do it for you.
Like I did an episode last week with two men, and they were talking to me about different questions I had about men and why they do what they do. And I asked, and I was like, why do men see the problems in relationships, not address it, and then wait till that woman is fed up and she files for divorce? And instead of you admit that the relationship been trash, you said she filed for the divorce, I didn't leave. But what they said to me was, you know, we were unhappy in the relationship the whole time, but we were just focused on who they were when we first met them. Whoever you're with when you first meet them will not be the person you're with 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. So are you not going to address anything that is not working for you in a relationship while you're paying a mortgage, while you're paying car notes, while you're paying tuition for kids, while you're paying back your debts, while you seeing credit card debt? Like that, holding in something that needs to be talked about that you're not cool with in a relationship that you're sharing with another person is like the fuel under every argument.
That's insane. It's called emotional intelligence. And I don't feel that they were ever taught to express how they feel. If the person that you were dating is not the same person, I never think that's the goal, but if the person that you're dating is the same person that you were when they met them, that means they haven't grown.
Right.
It means you don't want me to change. It means the idea that you have for me or of me is what you want, and you don't want me to grow.
Right.
That's insane. They don't communicate. They don't communicate because they don't have the emotional intelligence to. I think they are attached to the person. They want women to stay, the woman that they're with to stay that way. And they have an expectation that eventually she'll go back to that, or will just stick around because the loyalty, like this, their blind loyalty to an idea, just the way they are loyal to their friends. You can have a terrible group of friends, and I've known him since the 3rd grade. He's trash. He's trash. That's what they do. It's blind loyalty. Even
blind loyalty is so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's so dangerous, whether it's friends, people you work with, or a friend of the family, someone you have a child with. Like, I don't want to see you in a messed up position as my child's father. But at the same time, there's certain things I can't tolerate that you do. I'm not going to clap for you when you do the bare minimum. And it's not because I don't think that you're good enough. It's because in order for me to respect you as an equal parent, you have to do equal.
Preach on it.
I feel
Preach
that in my spirit.
I know. It actually resonated for me. I needed to hear that as well. Yes. No, but yes. I did what I was supposed to do. They feel I did something, and it was better than doing nothing. And remember, there's a societal standard that there are men who don't do anything at all. So at least I'm present, or at least I did something, should be the loyalty that you have to them. Well, I'm here. So, count me in.
Right.
You sound like
But what are you doing?
Comparing my father experience to what he does. He's like, well, your dad wasn't here. And I'm like, what does that have to do with you? And this year is my son's first time living with him. And we're at a point where me and my son are getting together to where he's 11 now, he's seeing some patterns and some lack of emotional intelligence and things like that. And it's to the point where we're like, hey, you're going to have an ultimatum. Either you go to therapy or start getting help and learning how to deal with things differently, or my son wants to come home. And he doesn't really want to come home. He wants to live with his dad, but, you know, he's not taking care of himself in that way. And, you know, it's not working.
Yeah.
I don't think we give children credit enough to be, especially this generation, to be emotionally intelligent enough to pick up on that. My son is just as intuitive and as emotional intelligent as your son to say, hey, this isn't right. Like, why isn't, you know, dad doing this or dad doing that? My son sees what I do and he's looking towards the future. He was like, Mom, you got to teach me how to do this around the house, because I don't want my wife doing this by herself.
Okay.
He's like, no. He's like, I need to learn how to cook. I need to learn how to clean the bathroom properly, because my wife can't do this by herself. If she's got a baby, she can't put my baby down to go clean the kitchen if I'm here. So he's very, very like interested on how do you help in the family dynamic, because his dad is not present.
Wow, that's beautiful though.
Yeah. And I'm happy that there are mothers, women today who have sons who are making better men of tomorrow. So my children don't have to be 35 wondering like what's in the water. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes. I think it definitely is a cycle. I think the generation of men had mothers who were overcompensating for the lack of fathers in the household. So they saw mom doing everything and didn't bother to ask the son to even chip in but a little or any at all. So now they have an expectation that you're supposed to do that.
Yeah. And even like for me, like
my mom did it.
My mom did it too. And I don't want to paint the picture. I'm always like thinking about it in the back of my head when I'm doing stuff. I don't want to paint the picture like, oh, you know, I don't need a man, I don't want one. I always say while I'm doing like random things, you know what? See this? I can't reach this. A man would be nice. But I can't pick and choose when I want a man to be here. And I say it purposely so they can hear me, because it's like an open table. Like, you have something to say about this, X, Y, and Z, because I think a lot of men think, oh, you know, when is your daughter's going to see you around a man to know like this is what happens in a relationship? I said, when I'm in a healthy relationship that I feel has value for my daughters to see that. But what I'm not going to do is have a Saks Fifth Ave door to my house so they can see multiple men come and go, do things because they get things, leave. Then it's a new one, do things because they get things. I want them to know like a man of value would do X, Y, and Z, regardless of me telling him you need to do X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely.
And when I'm doing stuff, I'm just like, you know what? This would be nice, you know, but you only get into a relationship if X, Y, and Z. I tell Ari all the time, if you are not married to a man, you don't need to be in a house with him, on any type of contract with him. And if you see a man and you can see his boxers and you're not showing your panties in public, he is not mature and he's not ready and he's going to waste your time. And I don't care if she's going to connect the dots on the fact that, oh, my daddy wears pants and you can see his boxers kind of. Yeah, your daddy is almost mid-40s.
Hello.
Mid-40s, still sagging his pants because he is not mature in a certain level of his life where he feels like, I'm above that now. But even though you do it as her father and you love her, I'm still going to tell her that is not the goal.
No,
out of love, that is not the goal. You know what I'm saying? To cohabitate and still lack is not the goal.
Absolutely. That is why my son has never met anybody that I have even remotely thought about dating. Unless you're going to be here and be present, you're not worthy to meet my son if you're not worthy to be in my life either. If I can't show you to my son, you know that you on notice. The moment that you ever meet my child, that means we have had a connection to a point where we can see this going somewhere, where I can present him to you and show you this is a man. Right. This is a man. This is what a man is supposed to be. This is someone who's worthy of me. And until I can find somebody where he'll never see anybody. No, sorry, it's not worth it to me. He knows that I would rather take care of my own responsibilities than to add somebody else to the mix just for company.
Love it. I love it. And that is the difference between women of yesterday and women of today. Not to knock the women of yesterday. They did what they could. They did their best. Even me having a discussion with, how my mom chooses men in her life to Ari's dad. And how I had to be almost out of my 20s to really understand the dynamics of my father and my mom's relationship, and how it was more transactional than it was a loving, healthy marriage. And I was mad while pregnant with Ari because my whole life, my father has been portrayed as being this asshole and not being caring and just having this stern personality. But the reality is, y'all didn't get married out of love and consideration and wanting to prosper together. Y'all got married out of you needing him to do something for you, and you agreed to do something for him. And once he did something for you, he felt like he owned you.
No thanks.
And as a woman, you don't put yourself in a predicament where your life is going to be dictated by a man, not out of healthy reasons.
No.
So my whole life, for the most part, when I experienced their relationship up until I was 8, I was like, if this is marriage, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying?
No, me either. I've honestly looked at marriage totally different now, and I'm not against it. I'm not necessarily for it. I think it works for certain people in certain situations. And I've realized that, I told you I idolize Whoopi Goldberg. Her book Hit and Run, definitely eye-opener on relationships. Even retrospectively speaking to my grandparents, looking at my grandmother's marriage, definitely to me, grew up in the 1940s, got married in the late 40s, early 50s, definitely a different type of woman. Having the ability to speak to her about her choices today, where women chose to be taken care of and having the kids taken care of and sitting at home, not the move. To hear her to be able to, recount her situation, she would do it all over different. To hear her say that she admires me because of everything that I do for myself and my child and keep it pushing. She was like, I could have done this differently, because what I got out of the deal and what I truly wanted in life was not the same. It's not the same.
Yes. And I love that she gets to see different. And some women of the past look at the women of today and the options that they have out of jealousy.
Like that part.
Oh, you think you better, or I'm gonna make your life a living hell because you think you know what you're doing, and I had to struggle, so you gonna learn how to struggle. And that is the mindset of women. That is the mindset of women who kick their daughters out at 16 because you on your period. Like, what?
I could never. But that's something that my son at one point was worried about. He was like, oh my God, Mom, I'm going to turn 18 and what do you mean kick you out? I was like, your brain ain't even fully developed until you're 25. Right. Now at 25, if you want to leave the nest, my dude, deuces. But I know that by the time you turn 25, I would have given you every life skill, every hack that I could possibly pour into you. And probably you'll still come back for more. But I would feel comfortable with you leaving my house at 25. I wouldn't dare kick a kid out at 18. That's insane.
This is what I told the girl.
Can't even rent a car.
Right. And I don't want to rent a car, and I am 35 because now they want you to put $400 deposit down on top of you paying for the car. Who? I will rent a U-Haul truck and drive to my destination and come back. Like, stop playing with me. And so this society of how it is so contradicting, because even if we talk about why women are slowing down, the article this week, China's numbers and reproduction are at an all-time low. Maybe because y'all still don't value women in that country. Maybe because the way that y'all want people to work, and if they get sick, they get fired. What does having a baby, adding that to the mix look like in China?
No, I'm good.
Like, come on, like there's other reasons why women are not having babies.
How about the cost of living? How about the cost of food? Yeah.
How about the cost of having a baby? Like my last bill for my 4-year-old was crazy high.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot
Risk
more
of
reasons.
dying. Risk of dying in childbirth, because I don't know, maybe look at my skin color real quick. We don't really make it out of those situations unscathed.
Yeah.
How about the housing crisis? How about the fact that I need to house this baby? And whether you're talking about renting or whether about owning a home, they're making it nearly impossible for our generation as a whole, let alone women, to secure housing. Where am I going to put that baby?
And this is why I'm so for, if there's two single women that trust each other, that have faith in each other business-wise and lifestyle-wise and respect each other as mothers, come together and be like, hey girl, you want to go half on this house together? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go for it. Go for it. You have men today.
Well, hello.
You have men today who are gone, who have gone through their second divorce and just like, I'd rather look for a straight man who want to just roommate together or maybe get married on paper for the benefits and just be roommates. Like, if that's what you want to do, cool. But stand up in it, because that also comes with some cons where there's going to be women that be like, so you mean to tell me y'all are not together, but y'all live together?
What's up with that?
You know, you mean to tell me you are 55 and you have a roommate?
Well, what about the generation of men that are going to end up in nursing homes? As somebody who works in the medical field, we talked about the men who are waiting for end of life to actually get married. Those who don't find a woman to settle down with before that end stage, whether it be diabetes, renal failure, high blood pressure, hypertension, they go into nursing homes these days.
Crazy.
And that's actually the wave of the future, because if women aren't marrying you and women of today are not having babies with you, where are these men going?
Right. And then you have to think about the women who think like, oh, I'm gonna get me the older guy who has the money and has the lifestyle to do the. A lot of those men are rich through family trusts, which will document wise not be going through the courts when he dies, regardless of y'all being married or not. The money goes to who's on the trust. The money don't go to who they chose to marry. And a lot of people don't understand that. You think this man about to die and give you the riches. He's not, because on paper from his father's father, it's supposed to go to his next of kin child. You got rich, wealthy people leaving mansions and workers to their dogs over their children because they feel like, no, I got it out the mud. You get it out the mud.
Facts. And you stayed there all them years.
Yeah. What? All the Louis Vuittons you could have been putting in an account. Stacking.
Nah, she was holding out for the big bag, girl. You talk about little bags.
Like, what? Like, even now, how we see banks are collapsing. The things don't matter if you don't have nothing to put the things in.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
The cars and the Maybachs don't matter if you gotta hide the car when you park it. Like, I don't like, and I
don't give me nothing that depreciates in value.
That is not a stunt. That is not a stunt. Like, come on, like, let's be smart. Let's utilize the fact that we all have Wi-Fi and internet. And if we don't, we could go somewhere that has internet and say, okay, who is someone that I admire, man or woman? Who is a woman out here doing it up? Is she sharing how she got to where she is? Yes. Let me go ahead and research and study that instead of watching someone become TikTok famous and make millions of dollars, instead of watching someone come up with a beauty page and get money from these companies, because these companies are peeping that, oh, so these people are leaving these jobs that we feel like they need us for to go sit on the internet and make money. And IG is like, oh, we ain't paying y'all for this no more. And so if you don't have the knowledge of how to talk to these companies in person or through email in order to make money with these companies, you posting is a waste of time. And it's all about knowing how to pivot. And I love the women in the past who know how to pivot. I love the women today who know how to pivot. Issa Rae could have made another show and kept going season for season for season, like Grey's Anatomy, like Shonda Rhimes. But she was like, I want to focus on music now. I want to help some people who getting it out of the mud now to be heard by a bigger group of people. And I think when it comes to being an activist, you could do that in different genres
in different areas. Absolutely. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm in the forest Monday through Friday. Where can you find me? In the forest. Like, it doesn't have to be that, but just because you got it, your start 30 years ago and you're still an actor, but you have the capital to maybe do a school. So actors,
isn't that some form of a gatekeeping too, though? And as such, if I got it out the mud mentality, we're talking about the same old women from before in the past. You should get it the way I got it. I did it by myself. I found my niche. But there are some people who are actually given those lanes in different areas. And I love that for Issa. The fact that she pivoted from, I'm not going to just make TV shows. I'm going to go into music now. But she mentioned that too, that's her dream. I want to open the doors because somebody sat me at a table and listened to me and heard me out. Why wouldn't I do the same for someone else who looks like me?
Right. And it wasn't a secret. Like, she kept the consistency throughout her episodes. She's in the mirror. She's rapping. It might not be that great, but it's funny. Is catchy. And every episode, she gave us music to go look up and download.
Teacup. I love my little teacup. I love her. Oh my gosh, her music is amazing.
What? Who is this? Like, every episode, I was literally going to the internet. Episode 2. What music was being played? Like, and that's like, it could be a little clip. It could be 2 minutes. It could be a shirt. It can be a restaurant. Like, there's so many ways for us to come together. And I really feel like that's always going to be the foundational issue of Black people, is that we were taught to be against each other. And the way that we fall in every area of business is the fact that we don't understand what unity looks like.
I think we were also taught that there can only be one. There can only be one great Black person at this. We're only letting one in at a time.
Yes.
You're going to kick the door open once I get in there. I'm going to let everybody in.
Yes. And I often have this conversation of the great leaders of like the 70s, the great leaders of the 80s, and how we don't have leaders now. Why do we need leaders when we have all of us?
Hello.
Why do we need one person to fix it when we have all of us? Why are we waiting for someone to say something pivotal to make a mass government change, or have the conversation that y'all are trying to make the gap between the poor and the rich bigger and completely eliminate middle class? And y'all are trying to make people who have had homes for 30 years become homeless because you are raising sales tax that they cannot cover with their Social Security and the money they put away in their retirement.
That whole class is disappearing.
Because that's why these companies are just like, fuck that. We're not buying another building. We're able to buy 20 homes in Atlanta. Are we going to go see those homes? No. We're going to have a crew of the team drive through on buses, not even roll down a window and step out in the community, see what they can knock down, rebuild, and then sell it for triple the price. But the people in here cannot afford that. We know, we don't care where they go, but they can't stay here. That is the mentality that's coming in through every neighborhood. And reality speaking, me personally, I don't feel like anybody owns shit in the United States. You don't own here. This is a business, and the way every contract is set up is to be a business. What can you get out of this? Well, I get something out of it too. And I'm not saying your aim shouldn't be to be a homeowner. I think being a homeowner and having equity in a home eventually and using that equity to build something else is the idea. To sit in a home that you don't take care of is going to depreciate like a vehicle.
Yeah.
To walk past trash being in your neighborhood, walk past the fact that the swings are torn down and rusty and say, that's not my business, but my house is clean and my yard is clean, is ignorant, because that is going to affect your house.
People don't understand that your community and property value, but there are people who specifically, like, I live in New York. There's people who specifically buy buildings in our communities to let them get run down. So the property value gets driven down enough so that when I am ready to come in here, like you said, I'm going to buy all 20 of these bad boys. It's a scheme.
Yes. Yes. And kudos to the people who are not of melanin calling out the foolery that their people who are not of melanin do.
Okay.
Dropping tips, giving you ends. And I feel like this is partially part of the reason why these states in the United States are trying to have the conversation of TikTok not being a thing, because the things that I be learning on TikTok.
Oh, it's way too valuable. It's way too valuable. I done learned everything about how to fry chicken where it don't pops on me, to how to fix my washer and dryer with a toothpick. Like, it's so much on there.
Girl, I did not know that a washing machine or a dryer had a filter on the goddamn washing machine. I thought it was just for the dryer.
I've never, oh my gosh. You learn something new every day. Wow.
And TikTok had me, looking at the fact that, do you get your dryer vent sucked? No, I've never had it sucked. But because I saw it on TikTok and how many fires they start, I want to look into that. Even though I may not own the house that I'm in, I have a washer and dryer in here. And when you have kids, you wash like crazy. So
no, but see, that's valuable information, because that, you know why that affects people? Because that affects homeowner insurance.
Yes.
Because if you're not so if you're not aware that causes fires, it may not be inside your in your plan. So hey, I don't have to pay for that house now if it burns down, because it's your fault, because you didn't do that and you didn't know that.
Yes. And I just feel like there are so many people that benefit on you being ignorant. There's so many people that benefit on you not knowing. There's so many men that still feel like, oh, that's a woman, pay her this, even though her education is more than me. I'm a man, I should be the face of this company. And for that reason alone, there was another article about why a lot of women are starting their own businesses and just leaving corporate America, because in the end, it doesn't pan out in their favor.
No, it doesn't.
Like, look at how many companies are just like, you know what? We used to give pension, but we're going to take pension away, and we're not matching this and we're not matching that. And so what is the incentive of me working for you? Now, I can run my mouth by myself, but I had Ash on here. Thank you for coming through. I had Gigi from Just a Conversation podcast come through, and I had my cousin Miko come through, and we were really talking about various things, and I'm not about to be in y'all ear for 2 hours and something minutes. So I went ahead and I made it 2 episodes. So the next episode will drop tomorrow. I got you. See you then.